page number? Wait, he's 1363. What page are you?
He's waived on the first one.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I'm here to present on SB 1363. I know it's a candidate for suspense. Just have a brief remarks on it and a couple of witnesses. With your permission, Madam Chair, I'll present on that. SB 1363 requires the Ocean Protection Council, in coordination with the State Coastal Conservancy, to establish and administer the Ocean Acidification and Hypoxia Reduction Program. The bill follows along with recent recommendations in a report released by the West Coast Ocean Acidification and Hypoxia Science Panel and Ocean Science Trust that talks about the benefits oceans have for carbon sequestration and specifically mentions further scientific research regarding the benefits of eelgrass restoration be done. As SB 1363 is a candidate for suspense, I would ask for your aye vote at the appropriate time when the suspense calendar is taken up. Madam Chair, with your permission, I have a couple of witnesses with brief testimony this afternoon. Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Juan Altamirano with Audubon, California, sponsors of the bill. We want to thank the author for taking this critical issue up before the committee. This bill, we believe, is an important bill that begins to attempt to resolve the science dealing with the best approaches regarding ocean acidification. We all know that as we deal with climate change, the cost of doing nothing is extremely costly to many of the coastal cities. Through these projects that Senator Monning mentioned, the state will be able to invest in California's commercial fisheries that benefit the thriving seagrass, that benefit from thriving seagrass habitats, including salmon, Pacific herring, Dungeness crab, and sustainable aquaculture. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Steve Baker with Aaron Reed & Associates representing the Monterey Bay Aquarium in support of the measure. The Pacific Ocean provides a significant amount of economic benefit to the state of California, both through tourism and through fisheries. We think that this issue of hypoxia needs to be addressed so that we can maintain those revenues that come from those resources, and as a result, we think that there will be some significant financial benefits to having some projects to deal with it and support the measure.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support?
Jamie Go on behalf of the Big Sur Land Trust, the Bolsa Chica Land Trust, the Peninsula Open Space Trust, as well as the Sonoma County Agricultural Preservation and Open Space District in support.
Good afternoon, Danielle Lynch on behalf of the Ocean Conservancy in support.
Witnesses in opposition? Are there none? Department of Finance?
No file.
No file.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, at the appropriate time, again, would urge an aye vote to move this off of suspense. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Monning. Without objection, that moves to suspense. He's got a two-pass. What page are we on? Here, I got it.
Madam Chair and members, another bill for suspense. This would be what I'd call a nostalgia license plate bill. It would allow Californians to register vintage blue and gold license plates. Those were commonly on our vehicles in the 1970s for the corresponding model year that they would desire. Currently, we have our black and gold plates that can be used. They have to meet the current DMV standards of being legible and serviceable for our vehicles. The current black and gold plate program that's established by the bill is self-funded. This would be also self-funded. And it's supported by the Association of Car Clubs, and the members would like to showcase their vintage vehicles and have attached to them those vintage license plates. We've not had any opposition to the bill, and I would ask your consideration to allow those vintage car owners to puff up their chest just a little bit and be proud of the era of when they had their cars proudly going up and down the streets and roads of California.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. This does have a due pass to the Senate floor recommendation, so you have witnesses in support?
I don't think we had anybody, we didn't
Witness-
call anybody up.
Witnesses in
Such a simple
opposition?
bill, and we didn't have any opposition or controversy.
Questions or comments from, Department of Finance, sorry.
No file.
No file. We have a motion from Senator McGuire. Please call the roll.
Motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura? Bates?
Aye.
Bates, aye. Bell? Bell, aye. Hill? Hill, aye. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Mendoza? Nielsen?
Aye.
Nielsen, aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
That has 5 votes. It's on call. Leave the roll open. Well,
Open it back up real quick.
we can open up the roll. Yes, please call.
Mendoza? Aye. Mendoza, aye.
That bill is out. So who's next?
They have a great application.
Yes.
Are we done? Just the way the presentation thing?
Yeah, do you want to just go in order?
Let me go.
I voted on it 3.
We'll begin with the waive presentation bills, and we'll start with SB 812. Witnesses in support?
Sylvia Solis on behalf of San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee in strong support. Thank you.
Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
File. That's a candidate for suspense. Moves to suspense without objection. SB 1195. Witnesses in support? I didn't. Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, that moves to suspense. SB 874. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance.
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill due to significant general fund revenue losses. The Franchise Tax Board estimates a total general fund revenue loss of $140 million in 2016-17, $150 million in 17-18, and $150 million in 18-19.
Would you like to make?
In opposition, Danielle Kando-Kaiser on behalf of the California Tax Reform Association, logging our opposition to the bill. Thank you.
That bill is a candidate for suspense. Without objection, it moves to suspense. We're SB 1405.
Did we do both again?
So, I don't have the right script yet. SB 1210, Senator Gaines. Candidate for suspense, witness in support. Witnesses in opposition.
Thank you, Danielle Kando-Kaiser again on behalf of California Tax Reform Association in opposition to the bill.
Thank you. Department of Finance.
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill because it will result in significant general fund revenue losses to implement what we see as questionable tax policy. Sales tax, holidays complicate tax administration and increase costs for regulators as well as for retailers. Additionally, the Board of Equalization estimates annual general fund revenue loss from this bill of $16 million beginning in 2017-18.
Thank you. Candidate for suspense, without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1405. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, that will move to suspense. SB 888, Senator Allen. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 916, Senator Allen. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1083, Senator Allen. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1050, Senator De Leon. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1052, Senator Lara. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. We already did that. SB 1289. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1338, Senator Lara. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition.
Good afternoon, Danielle Kando-Kaiser on behalf of California Tax Reform Association. We are opposed still. Thank you.
Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we will move that to suspense. SB 1056, Senator Liu. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1384, Senator Liu. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1101, Senator Wachowski. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1103, Senator Cannella. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition.
Danielle Kando-Kaiser on behalf of California Tax Reform Association in opposition.
Department of Finance.
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill due to its impact to the general fund and significant revenue losses. The Franchise Tax Board estimates that this bill will have an annual revenue loss of $60 million beginning in 2016-17.
Thank you. Without exception, that moves, without objection, that moves to suspense. Senate Bill 1122, Senator Cannella. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1126, Senator Stone. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill because it creates an ongoing $13.5 million Prop 98 general fund costs due to the elimination of future property tax inflation factor increases for certain senior homeowners. The BOE estimates and Finance agrees that this bill will result in a potential annual property tax revenue loss of $27 million. Based on current property tax revenue distributions, we estimate approximately 50% of the revenue loss will accrue to K-14 schools specifically. This will generally result in a corresponding increase to the state's annual Prop 98 general fund costs.
Thank you. We do have a witness in support or opposition.
In opposition, California Tax Reform Association. Thank you.
Thank you. Without objection, that will move to suspense. SB 1156, Senator Huff. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, that we will move that to suspense. SB 1223, Senator Huff. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1258, Senator Huff. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1159, Senator Hernandez. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we will move that to suspense. SB 1300, Senator Hernandez. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1177, Senator Galgiani. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
Without, pardon? Oh, we have.
Consumer Union Safe Patient Project, the advocacy arm of Consumer Reports, opposes SB 1177.
Tina Manassian. I'm a survivor and a victim of medical harm caused by a doctor in diversion. Dr. Brian West battled an addiction to alcohol for many, many years, and I was treated by him when he was in a diversion program. He actually was in it multiple times and failed, and the Medical Board of California allowed him to continue to treat patients while he was in a diversion program. The problem I have with that, it was a secret program. It's defunct now, but it was secret. I, as a patient, had the right to know whether my doctor is abusing drugs or in a diversion program. I oppose this bill, and I encourage you to do the same.
Michelle Montserrat Ramos with Consumers Union Safe Patient Project on behalf of Lloyd Montserrat and all of the Californians who died or harmed by substance abusing physicians strongly oppose this bill.
Good afternoon. My name is Renee Nielsen. I am a member of the general public. I represent about 30 million Californians who already believe that we already have somebody looking out for us and we would have been given this information and that it's not secret. So I oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move this to suspense. SB 1183, Senator Bates. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition.
Danielle Kando-Kaiser on behalf of California Tax Reform Association. We remain opposed unless amended on this bill. Thank you.
Department of Finance?
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill because it creates an ongoing $33 million Prop 98 general fund cost due to the increase in veterans' property tax exemption. This is similar to other bills with property tax implications. We're projecting a tax revenue loss of $65.9 million, and based on the property tax distributions currently, we estimate that about 50% of that revenue loss will accrue to K-12, or K-14, excuse me, schools.
Thank you. Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1212, Senator Hueso. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1216, Senator Hueso. Witnesses in support. Witness. Oh, we did it. Oh, I'm sorry. It's one of the earlier ones. I'm sorry, I didn't mark my. SB 1222, Senator Hertzberg. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1299, Senator Hertzberg. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1329, Senator Hertzberg. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition.
California Tax Reform Association in opposition. Thank you.
Department of Finance?
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill. We believe that it results in unknown but potentially significant state general fund costs if commercial air carriers are provided the right to trial de novo. We also believe that the bill sets questionable precedent by allowing commercial air carriers that right. Although the bill applies to a select industry group, many other industries may also follow suit and seek the trial de novo. The bill also results in a substantial increase in county assessor costs if commercial air carriers choose to challenge assessor appeal rulings in court.
Thank you. Without objection, that will move to suspense. SB 1272, Renner. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Department of Finance?
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill due to its negative impact on state revenues. The bill offers a state tax credit to encourage employees of small businesses to save more through an employer payroll savings plan. This is not a retirement plan, but rather a savings plan where the money can be withdrawn for any reason. The Franchise Tax Board estimates that this bill, as amended on April 12, 2016, would result in general fund losses of $9.3 million in 16-17, $9 million in 17-18, and $9.6 million in 18-19. The May 4th amendments to the bill added limitations on the matching contributions, so we think that the revenue losses would be somewhat less, but we don't have new estimates.
Thank you. Without objection, that will move to suspense. SB 1277, Senator Hancock. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, that will move to suspense. SB 1279, Senator Hancock. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Senate Bill 1309, Senator Leyva. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, that will move to suspense. SB 1339, Senator Monning. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, that will move to suspense. SB 1350, Senator Wolk. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, that will move to suspense. Senator Wolk, 1396. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in support? Are we coming for support or opposition? Opposition. Witnesses in opposition?
Burnett Marsh from Cluse County, farmer, landowner in the area that's partially, it is included in the Intercoastal Range Conservancy area. We're concerned about the cost of establishing and operating the conservancy and the collateral economic impact on the areas, the private lands and the private water rights of people, as well as the economic impact on the communities. Although in the bill it states recreation, et cetera, but that area is heavily dependent on agriculture, and any impact on agriculture affects the families. And it's a rural area, it's a relatively, certainly not metropolitan or high-tech. And so we oppose it for those reasons.
Thank you.
Nadine Bailey, Family Water Alliance, we oppose this bill.
Thank you. Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, this will move to suspense. SB 1361, Senator Nielsen. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1406, Senator Mendoza. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1420, Senator Mendoza. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1413, Senator Leno. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. SB 1441, Senator Leno. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file.
Without objection, we'll move that to suspense. And I believe that concludes our file today. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.